Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Knitted Creations Knitting Podcast. This is episode 2, and it's been a while. I did my first episode like 4 weeks ago, and it's been rather hectic, one could say, this past few weeks. So unfortunately it had a long pause, but I'm back now, and my plan is to do at least like a quite short podcast, just a small update of what I've been doing the past few weeks. So welcome here. My name is Elsa, and I love knitting. I have a huge passion for knitting garments, and here I am going to talk about all of my projects that I've been making, and that I'm very happy about. So as you can see, I am not wearing anything knitted today because the weather in Sweden has been, it's almost been summer for like 3 weeks here in Sweden. So it's been very hot, making it difficult to wear anything knitted in, especially wool. And most of a majority of my garments that I made for myself are all in wool. So there hasn't been much of my knitting on me, so to say. So today I am just wearing a t-shirt because it's rather hot in our apartment. Now it's in like the morning or before noon, so it's okay, but we have a lot of windows in our apartment, so there is it's gonna get hot in here. I know that. So every day it's quite hot in our apartment, and took the opportunity to film the podcast now before it gets too hot. So I don't have anything on me that I could talk about, so I guess that we can skip this part and jump straight into my finished objects. So I have 2 finished objects since my last podcast, and it's the ones that I was working on when I filmed the last podcast. I hope you can hear me okay. There are a few cars here and there, but I need to have the windows open because it's this apartment is like a sauna if I don't have any windows open. But yeah, I have a few finished objects, and I will jump into that now. Okay, so the first finished object that I have is the Northland sweater. Here it is, the Northland sweater I made for my fiance. And I talked about it in the previous podcast, and I don't remember how much detail I said about this, but I must say that I really liked this project. It was a fast one, because it was quite thick needles, so it was 5mm needles for this project, and it's a saddle shoulder construction, and the pattern is by Petite Knit. And this sweater I made for him. I think I started it in April, and my hopes were that I would finish it in May, which I did, but that he would be able to use it for like at least a couple of days before it got too hot. But it's been a weird May in Stockholm, and it's been super hot. I think it's been around like at least 25 degrees Celsius almost daily. It's been very I don't think that we were really prepared for it, that it was gonna be this hot, and that it would stay for like 3 weeks. So it's unfortunate because he hasn't been able to use this, but I am still very happy with the finished result. I will put up a few pictures of him wearing it. I had to take a few photos and we took them like late night because that's when the temperature is okay to wear a knitted sweater. So hopefully, I don't know, we'll see if I'll see him in this sweater anytime soon. Perhaps he will wear it during autumn, which I also guess will be a very fun, like, oh yeah, that's right. Like almost like a surprise, you know, that I made him this sweater, because otherwise I would be used to see him in this sweater, but then when autumn comes, it will be like a nice reminder, oh yeah, that's true, I made you that sweater and you haven't been able to wear it, and now he's wearing it, you know. I don't know if you get what I mean, but I look forward to autumn and seeing him in this sweater as well. So it has a mix of wool and alpaca following thread. So I used one of the suggestions from the pattern. So it's the Sun is Gone Peer Gynt and the alpaca following thread. And I have the colorways written in my project journal. Let's see. Color for the Peer Gynt is the colorway Marine in 5575. And the one for alpaca following thread is the Marine Blue in the colorway 5882. Overall, very nice project. I made a modification to the neck edge. So it's supposed to have only like no double folded collar, only like one straight line of knitting. And then you end with I think you end with like double knitting, but I chose to do a double folded pattern with like this pearl row in the middle, which is also a typical petite knit type of color. But I am not sure that I'm sold about this color yet, because I have like my sense when he's wearing it is that it sticks up a little bit. I mean, I kind of get why she didn't recommend to use this type of color in the pattern. I just thought that it would look good on him, and that's why I wanted like a sturdier color, so that's why I modified it. But I think that the one that's written in the pattern is, I mean, it's a very good color to use for this sweater, but I just thought that it would be nice to have a more sturdy neck, but I'm unsure about it. And I've told him to, you know, once he can wear this one, and once he tried it on a few times, I told him to feel about the color, and if he has like anything that he wants to change, or if that's, you know, okay for him. So I told him to, yeah, have a feel when he wears it. Otherwise, the project is, you know, a nice stockinette project, goes by really fast, and yeah, there is really nothing else to say about it. It was my first time I knitted the saddle shoulder, and I really like the look of it. I like that the lines here by the arms, before like the arms start, they end up like perfectly, like, you know, this t-shirt would, by the shoulder, and it's a very neat look. So I'm very happy with that, and I'm impressed by the pattern. So yeah, that's the Northland sweater, and super happy with that. It's hard to show the color on camera because it's quite dark, but I think it's like almost brighter on camera than it is in real life. But it's super nice together with this alpaca, because it has like a few spots of lighter or brighter color, I would say, from the alpaca, so it shines through quite nice. But I don't think you can see it on in the camera. Anyway, super happy about this, and I look forward to seeing him wearing this sweater. Okay, finished object number 2 is my wedding project. Here it is. Oops. So I finished the winter clutch, also a pattern by Petite Knit, and I'm very happy with the finished result of it. I really like the look of this clutch. I haven't worn it because I'm saving this one for the wedding. So if you don't know, I'm getting married in a couple of days. The reason to why I haven't had any time to film a podcast. But I made this clutch with the hope of it having the same color as my bouquet will. So I'm not sure yet because I haven't seen my bouquet. I won't be able to see it until the day of the wedding. But I think that it would be very matchy to my bouquet. I didn't want like a white bag because my bride dress is not like white. It's a bit more like champagne color. So I didn't want a white bag. I knew that I wanted something with color, and I thought, why not try to make a bag in the same color, or at least quite similar to the color of my bouquet. So it's the winter clutch, and I used I modified a little bit, not modified, but I had another yarn than the suggested yarn. So I talked about this in my last podcast as well, but I think the suggested yarn is the Hjellholt Ullspinneri, the thick version, but I used the thinner version. Sorry, my chain is sounding a lot. So I used the thinner version 8/2 in the color Winter Peach, together with a mohair from Filcolana. It's the Tilia, Filcolana Tilia mohair in the color Peach. So together they make this very nice and melange colorway. I'm super impressed by the color. I'm really happy with this, and I'm very excited to see what it looks like together with my bouquet. So you start, the pattern itself is easy to follow. It took a while because it's knitted on 3mm needles. So you're starting at the bottom and you're doing one side and then you're doing the other side. And once you've done the bottom, you join and then you knit up and you follow like the pattern. It's like a specific type of stitch in the pattern. I don't remember what it was called. But yeah, and then you knit until a certain length, and then you knit the stockinette part, and after that you sew in the clutch with the stockinette part here, and then you sew in the lining. Right now I don't have anything here, I just wanted to see what it looked like. I just have like a small brush in here, and then you sew in the lining. And I would say that everything was very straightforward, and it's super helpful with Petite Knit in her patterns that she uses a lot of videos that you could reference to and look at. So I think I spent like one afternoon with all of the sewing, and then I installed the rings for the chain, and then I just put in the chain. Yeah, so I think I might add like a few pictures or a video of me wearing this, but super happy. And I guess that in my next episode I can also perhaps share some photos of me wearing it at the wedding. Yeah, so that were my finished objects. I'm super happy and super excited about this, but I've been like, ever since I finished it, I've tried not to look at it too much or not use it, because I want to save it for the wedding and the complete look, which I'm very excited to see what it will look like. But it's quite special, so that's like the reason to why it's been resting for a while. And I think it's a very nice color in itself and something I can use a lot after the wedding. So yeah, that were my finished objects, and let's move on to work in progresses. So yeah, I usually knit a lot when I commute to work, and I use these very quite cheap pouches that I actually bought at the Tokyo National Museum. If you're ever there, it's a good tip. These pouches I've been using a lot for my knitting projects every time I go anywhere. So it's like a perfect size for a work in progress, and has these, you can, pull these and it stays closed, and then you have your handles and then you just carry it like that. So I bought 2 of them, and I usually have my projects in this. Oh, pollen medicine. Okay, so in my last episode I was talking about my future plans and what I wanted to knit like during the summer, what would be my summer knitting plans. But I've actually changed one of them, and I'm super happy with my decision of changing. So last episode I showed you the Thin Line yarn that I was actually planning on knitting the Cumulus Tee by Petite Knit. I completely changed my plan about that. I do not have the patience to knit something that big with 3mm needles. Yeah, I searched a lot, and I googled and I looked at Ravelry, and I found the blouse number 1. So the blouse number 1 uses, I think the suggested yarn is the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. I think Pure Silk, not sure, I have to double check. But I don't have it, and since I had like almost a sweater quantity of the Sun Is Gone Thin Line, I chose to buy a few more of the same yarn. However, they didn't have it in the same like dye lot, but I think that because you hold 2 strands together, so if I hold one of the old together with one of the new, it's okay. It doesn't matter for me if it creates like a small melange effect. I quite like it. Yeah, so that's what I chose to do instead, and here is my current whip. I should have put it on bigger like circumference so that you can actually see how far I got then. But here it is. Perhaps I can put in photos of it later. It's nice to knit with the Thin Line. It's my first time doing so, but I had a difficult time with the start for this project. So you start by casting on a certain amount of stitches, and they are supposed to be casted on tightly, and right after that you're changing to bigger needles, which was quite difficult for me to do because it's not stretchy at all. So it was very difficult for me to change to bigger needles because it was super tight. And yeah, it was quite yeah, hard to change, but I managed. After a lot of trial and error back and forth, I actually managed to change needle size. I had to create like my own type of system, so I cast it on, I think you cast on like 4mm needles, and that's just for the cast on edge, and right after you have to choose or change to 5mm needles, and you cannot just like slip them on towards the 5mm needles because you cannot literally put them on, they're too tight. So I had to like try to find a way to knit them on my 5mm needles, but it was also quite difficult because you only had like a very small circumference from the neck edge. I mean, this is the cast on edge is the neck edge, so you didn't have that much space to work with as it was. Yeah, anyway, it was frustrating, and it took me a few hours to be able to actually come to the knitting part of the garment. But now I'm here, and I've actually almost been knitting this one on the train when I commute to work. So this is what it looks like. I mean, the color is super nice. I am very happy with the color. I thought it would be, because when I look at it like this, I thought it would be quite bright for some reason. I don't know why. And that's also one reason to why I wasn't very excited for this color, because I thought it would be very bright white. But now that I'm knitting it up, I'm actually seeing, you know, it's very warm, and I love this color. I just love this color. So I'm very excited to finish this blouse number 1. It's an interesting pattern. I mean, the design itself, it's something I've never done before. So what you started with was the cast on edge, the frustrating cast on edge or chain. And right after that, you're doing like short rows back and forth at the back to increase the back a little bit. And after that, you're just joining in the round, and you're doing the raglan increases. So you're starting with the increasing here on the shoulder to create this very nice line, and then you do the opposite, and you are doing the raglan increases on the other side, so the inside instead, which create like this shoulder coming out. So I also think it has a very neat look, because you get like this line and then the shoulder comes along like that. So I'm very happy with my decision of changing from the Cumulus tee to the blouse number 1. And the main reason is because it's 5 millimeters. I love it. I am not a 3 millimeter girl at all. I like the bigger gauge. Like 4 or 5 is my usual like personal favorites, but 3 millimeters, I don't know if I just got burnt out from the or very tired from the Friday tee that I knitted that had both broken rib, stripes, and 3 millimeter needle. Yeah, so this is what I chose to do instead, and I'm super excited to see the progress. And I will also show you the progress of this sweater both on my Instagram but also here on my YouTube. But yeah, I don't have bigger cables to show at the moment, but here it is. I haven't gotten that far. Yeah, so that's one of the current work in progresses that I have. And another work in progress that I have is a gift that I'm making for one little girl in our family. It's a very nice and small project, and I am not sure if I should show it here, but it's, maybe I can just share what project it is, but you know, maybe not the color. So I'm knitting a Sille slip over, and yeah, I think I will leave it like that. But that's like the main project that I'm knitting right now at home, and I will show you more of it when I have finished it and gifted it. Another work in progress that I've had for almost, I don't know, half a year are my vanilla socks. So I knitted one in this hand-dyed yarn that I bought it at it's like this yarn festival that we have in Stockholm sometimes, but usually they have like a lot of hand-dyed yarn dyers that come there and sell their products, and they're from all over Sweden, so it's perfect if you if you don't live where they are, you can take the opportunity and buy their hand-dyed yarn. So I bought this one at the fair and the festival, and it's a brand called Nutritious, So knit riches. I think it's a very, very good word, a fun word to use. But it's in a colorway called Oyster, and it's like this very nice, natural, I want to say like beachy yarn with a few speckles of both like orange, but also a few speckles of like blue. I think if you look closely, you can see there. But otherwise it's quite natural and beige and a few speckles of darker beige, and I think it's a very nice color. I'm very excited for these, but I have taken a break from them, and I've had second sock syndrome, and it's been a big second sock syndrome. So I had this one. I've only like this was my like commuting whip that I had for a few months, so I only knitted this one while I was commuting to work. And the same for the ones that for the sock that I am knitting at the moment. So yeah, it's a little bit tangled up in here because I haven't been working on them for a while, but I've gotten this far. So I've done the cuff, is that the word? And then like the leg of it, and I think I finished the heel, and now I should start with picking up stitches for the gusset. Yeah, so but the pattern itself, it's nice and easy to follow. I like the heel flap and gusset when it comes to socks. This is my first time knitting socks with this small gauge and small needles, because like here, for us in my family, it's been very common to use like thick socks during winter. So we usually have like, those are like the usual knitted type of socks that I've been used to growing up. So that was the first type of socks that I actually made, was this thicker socks that I knitted both for me and for my fiance. But this is the first time I'm knitting like thin socks that I can use daily, not just as cozy socks at home, but actually like socks that you can wear when you're going outside, that will fit in your boots or in your shoes. I am happy about this, but I've just lost my motivation in knitting or finishing it, and I think it's also because the weather is getting warmer, and I don't know if I want to have wool socks, because this is the merino wool and nylon mix. I think it's 20% nylon or something, but yeah, I'm not sure, and I've just lost my appetite for this one at the moment, and I will wait until my appetite comes back, and hopefully it will do that perhaps during autumn, unless I get like some weird type of rush during summer and just finish this. It will go very quickly for me to just finish this sock, so maybe I should just do it. I haven't even blocked this sock because I'm waiting for the friend to come along so I can block it. So it's just been like on this sock blocker for a couple of months, but it's a nice accessory that we have in our living room at the moment, and it's waiting for its friend. But I'm not in a rush. I do, however, love using hand-dyed yarn for these types of projects. I think it's a perfect project to use hand-dyed yarn for, which is also a reason to why I want to finish these socks, because I have another hand-dyed yarn that I want to use, but I think a hat or a beanie would also be a good option to use for a hand-dyed yarn. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that. So yeah, I think that's like my work in progresses that I have at the moment, and I'm sorry that I cannot really share all of them in detail yet. I don't want to spoil too much because they might be watching. And I think that's it from what I have for my finished objects and my work in progresses. And I do also have, oh, maybe I didn't mention, this pattern is from the Crazy Sock Lady vanilla socks from the Crazy Sock Lady. And maybe I didn't mention this as well. Blouse number 1 is from My Favorite Things Knitwear that I'm making at the moment. Yeah, and the other patterns have been from Petite Knit. I do have another special thing that I want to share. It's not knitting related, but it is creating or making related. And it's something that my friends surprised me with for my bachelorette party. So they know that I love knitting and doing creative stuff. So for one of the things that we did for my bachelorette party, they had booked us for like a place where you can paint ceramics. So you can choose what type of ceramics you want. They are, I mean, someone has already made them, but they are in the painting stage or in the glazing phase. So right before you, so they're just like white from the, from when someone created that. And so they booked us for that, and it was a lot of people there actually, and a lot of bachelorette parties were there at the same time as we were. So I think it's a very popular thing to do at the bachelorette party, and I can really recommend it. I chose to do teacups. So I picked out these type of I cannot speak. These type of teacups. So very big, because we don't have any teacups at home, or we do, but not these nice ones. So I picked 2 of them, and I chose to paint them like this. So they are looking the same. So it's actually one color on the outside and another color on the inside. Maybe it's hard to see the difference. And it was hard to see the difference when you painted them as well, because right as your paint dried, it turned white. So it was quite hard to see how much paint you had on them. So I have one color on the outside and another color on the inside. And then I chose to splash a darker color all around it. So it's, yeah, it's like a wedding gift for me, for myself, from my friends. I am very, very, very happy that they booked that for our bachelorette, or for my bachelorette. So I made 2 of them. So I made one for me, and I made one for my future husband. I think it's a very nice memory to have. So whenever I drink them, I will think of, yeah, my friends and the wedding, and it's quite special, and it's getting very close. Only a few days left, and yeah, then I'm married. So with that being said, I do not know when the next episode will come. Hopefully in a couple of weeks. I'm sorry that it took such a long time for me to film this one as well, but it's been hectic, very hectic. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's getting very close. I'm a bit stressed, but mostly excited at the moment. Yeah, and I think I don't think I have any new acquisitions or anything. I think I shared them in the last episode, and I started a few of them. So I started the one with Tin Line in blouse number 1, and I started one of the gifts, and I still plan on knitting the beanie for my father-in-law. But I think that's what I have planned at the moment. And I think that since I chose to knit this project, this blouse number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, instead of the Petite Knit Cumulus Tee, I think I will finish this one faster than the Cumulus Tee that I planned for in the beginning, which means that I might have time to knit on other summer projects. And my hope would then be to knit Tee number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I just think it looks lovely, and I love like the overfit size. It's yeah, I just very like I really like the look of it. It looks very professional and very neat. So if I do have the time, I would like to knit that summer project as well. And I might have time because I chose to knit the blouse number 1 with 5mm needles instead of Cumulus T with 3mm needles. Yeah, okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Please, if you want, or if you think that this is nice to listen to, hit follow, like, subscribe. You can also find me at Instagram at Knitted Creation. And yeah, thank you very much. I'm very happy and very thankful if you made it this far and listened to all of my talking about everything and nothing almost. But super glad to have you here, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone.